how realistic is it to think that a carrier would deny a claim if they find misrepresentations on the application? This is a huge fear point for a lot of people. There's cyber insurance doesn't pay out, carriers won't pay claims, blah blah blah. Right? There's two things. I think it was either Reed or Wes. I don't remember who it was, but one of them said carriers do not want the bad publicity of a denied claim. So let's start there. Right. Again, we just brought up the whole competition market thing. Imagine being that carrier that was super competitive, got a policy, and then it's like, oh wow, this carrier worked really hard to bring their pricing down, and then they didn't pay a claim. It's like, guess who's never going with that carrier again? Pretty much everybody, right? So it does paint a bad picture for the carrier. So it would need to be a blatant misrepresentation, and even then, sometimes you see carriers negotiating the claim payout, not outright denying it, depending on the nature of the incident. Now, there is that incident back from 2022, I think, where Travelers denied a claim because the client said on their application that they had MFA and they didn't. And the reason that the attack happened was because they didn't have MFA. And MFA being the literal most important security measure for all of these carriers right now, if you misrepresent that, I mean, good luck. But here's my piece. Right, is when you're filling out these applications, when your clients are filling out these applications, you're spending money. And to some of the comments that I've seen, close to 1% of your revenue on a policy, that if you did not take the time to accurately convey what your security posture was, you're now throwing that money out the window, because you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to pay $5,000 for a policy that isn't going to pay out if it actually comes to pass. So you're losing $5,000, and then probably tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of that in recovery costs, potentially more. So it's definitely something to consider when you're filling out those forms, is to be as honest as possible, and understanding then that if you're honest, when the underwriter looks at that and says, hey, we'll write a policy based off of that, well, guess what? They've now entered into a contract, and you're able to point back and say, no, this was and is my security posture on here. So if they're trying to deny the claim, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say this, but I can't say this accurately or 100% truthfully, but at the same time, traditionally, the courts tend to side with the insured, not the insurance companies, when there's discrepancies or confusion. And if you're really clear on your security and they're trying to say, this claim is, we don't want to pay this, chances are they're going to. I mean, that's just the way that plays out.
But hearing how critical that application is just a reminder of why MSP should absolutely be a process, or a part of the process when their customers are filling out those applications.
100%.
You should not be letting your customers fill those out without some input from you, because they hire you to manage their IT. They aren't going to know some of the answers to the nuance of yeses and nos, and it's too easy sometimes. Even just to have a second set of eyes on something like that, because of the potential to misrepresent and be not covered.
Yep.
And there's a middle ground there. And we talk about this all the time with partners, right? Like there's, here, send this app over. The MSP is scared of it. They don't want to touch it. We're going to send it to the client, and they're just going to put yes on everything to get a good premium. The other side of the spectrum is MSP fills it out for them and signs off on it. You don't want to do that either, right? The middle ground is, walk through them with it, have them fill out the part that they know dead to rights, and then advise them on the tech questions that they're unsure of, right? Like meet the client in the middle there. Our legal friends will tell you, don't ever do it by yourself. Don't ever put a wet signature on it. It's not your application, but you also don't want them just cruising through and purposefully lying to try to get a premium cut.
Yeah. Or thinking that they're answering MFA, not realizing that the application is very specific about all versus just, do you have it? Because didn't it used to be that it just said, do you have it? And if one guy had it, you could be like, sure.
That's the other point. Yeah. How that question is worded. And I know we're limited on time. I don't want to chase a rabbit here, but most traditional,
two rabbits now, Andy.
One rabbit, one squirrel. But anyway, that the whole idea is the old question was, do you have MFA? Yes or no? What a terrible question, right? And the way we pose it on our application is where is MFA implemented, right, or enabled? Email backups, remote logins, things like that. And you should be telling a deeper, more complete story to an underwriter than yes, we have MFA, or no, we don't.